Now let's go. I'm just playing. I fuck with Max. Nah, yes, my go. When drill first took over Chicago. Bunch of fucking
You don't
thugs.
need me to tell you that kids are followers. We all took part in it. When I was coming up in Chicago, we had a slim selection of shoes that were acceptable to wear in public. Now, I'm from the South Side, so bear with me. Nike, Jordan, and Timberlands were the standard. Stupid, right? Especially since most of us used to get the same fake Jordans out the back of that one guy's van in the alley. And I'll never forget them fake Air Force Ones. Them boys don't bend, break, or scuff. They
Bro, how do niggas have fake Air Force Ones? Like, that's dead ass crazy. Nigga, them bitches is $80.
just stay in mint condition. Anyway, being an original YN back in the 2010s, I saw the drill happening first person when it began. Now, of course, there was always gangster rap all over the country, but when the term Chiraq Drill Noise was first uttered out of King Louie's mouth, I was about 14 maybe. And it sparked a horrible trend of events, from at least 50% of all the parties I went to getting shot up in high school, to me accidentally being caught in the middle of multiple gang brawls with 20 people on each side, all because I was riding my stupid ass on the bus trying to get home from school. But let's start at the beginning. Today our story starts on good old 79th Street. Now I ended up transferring high schools after freshman year, but my
Fucking
freshman
79th.
year, my mama ain't give me no choice. Some of my homies went to Simeon, which was
Yo, for all the Chiracians and maybe somehow spawning in this bitch. Yo, what the fuck is 79th?
the high school mostly known for
bad.
sports and Derrick Rose, and it was honestly the high school most kids out south wanted to go to. One of my homies went to Hirsch, which, if this school is still open today, I have no idea why. This had to be one of the most dangerous schools in the city at the time. And a quick story on that, I had a homie that was very GD. Why? I don't know. He was a follower at the time.
Yo, is D Rose actually GD or some shit? I keep seeing that fucking picture.
And honestly, we all were. The point is, Hirsch was full of black disciples. And unfortunately for him, we started high school right when the BDK movement started, so the BDs wasn't tolerating no G-boys at all whatsoever. And see, this was still all new at the time, because just 5 to 10 years before this, Nation still kind of meant something in Chicago. The GDs and BDs were all just the folks' nation. They was all dropping fives together for the Stones or the Moles, whatever you want to call them, and pretty much they would all fight together. But Drill destroyed that.
Damn.
So when his mama forced him to attend Hirsch, everything was cool at first, for like the first week of school. Then some of the guys invited him to the hood after school to smoke with him, and this way it gets petty. These boys spent
Quick question though. Like, what the fuck? How the fuck y'all even get involved in this shit at random though? Like, this shit's so random. You talking about this shit like it just happened. Like, there was nothing leading up to it.
his mama forced him to
The
attend Hirsch.
suburbs?
Everything was cool at first, for like the first week of school. Then some of the guys invited him to the hood after school to smoke with him, and this way it gets petty. These boys spent their own money, got him nice and high, and when he was comfortable, he must have accidentally shook up GD with one of them, or more likely this was just a setup all along, but they ended up beating him out his shoes. Now why did they do this? They didn't know him for real, and no real war had started between their hood and his, but it was starting to become a trend to be BD, and to disrespect any G-boys they came in contact with. These would be some of the same guys that would end up flipping an entire neighborhood, but it probably wasn't that hard. You see, when Chief Keef came out, it didn't matter what hood you was from. We was teenagers, and so was he. But the difference is he started rapping and blew up. And even before the deal, all of a sudden, all the guys wanted to hang around and clout chase off him, and all the girls wanted to say they knew him. Just so
Nah, I remember back then, yo, this nigga deadass had mad niggas dick sucking and buying so much true religion that shit was actually out of body crazy, nigga. Like, you know what it is to switch up your whole wardrobe because of one person? Like, that shit was crazy. Damn unk. Nigga, I was like fucking 7. I just remember it because, you know, the nigga had YouTube and shit.
some random snotty-nosed kid from Parkway Gardens suddenly had all the clout in the city. And I guess you could say that's what kind of made him relatable. He was in our generation, and he was the one that showed everybody how to get famous. Whether this was the wrong way or not didn't really matter to a bunch of teenagers. He was getting in the club at 16 and coming back to the hood with money. And clout is a dangerous drug, mostly taken by kids. And if you ever heard anybody call somebody a Chief Keef BD, this is why. Anybody who wasn't gang banging, and even some that was halfway in the streets, threw up them trays quickly to jump on that wave. As dumb as it sounds, some guys really thought that the girls would assume they knew Chief Keef if they said they was BD. And you have to understand, a large majority of the South Side was gangster disciples, meaning that a lot of guys and girls grew up hearing the older people in their family talk about being a GD back in the day. And only a few select hoods were actually black disciples. Even Parkway, which would become O Block, was not a BD territory back in the day. And today it's back to being a mix because, again, Nation is dead. It's way more about which dead homie the killers were cool with. That's
No, I'm not gonna lie, dead ass though, Ja Reed be doing it OD, like all these Chicago niggas talking about some GDK. Look, I ain't saying this. Look, I'm a great guy. I'm not saying this. But a lot of these Chicago niggas is, bro. This shit that ass crazy. I don't know Chief Keef like that, but he low-key tough. His music good. Now, old Chief Keef was better than Chief we got now. Like now, Glow Chief, he's still fire. But the old Chief, you know what I'm saying? The original Glowster. I'm just sucking mad dick. I don't even know what the fuck a Glowster is, gang. I'm gonna be honest. Holy shit.
Your nation now. But when Sosa did all this,
Love
the
Sosa,
BDs
yeah,
got a
like
little
back
clout
then,
boost in the
that
city.
nigga,
Blocks I
Chief
used to
was
walk
damn
down every day with no problem, all of a sudden became little mini war zones. And back to my freshman year, my mom is from the low end, like most people parents on the south side back then, and she told me, you don't need to be going to school with all your friends. I'm sending you to military school. Now this sounds good to a parent, but my freshman year she sent me to Chicago Military Academy on 35th. Unfortunately, this was not what she thought it was. Not only was it smack dab in the middle of like 5 different high schools, including...
Why does that street look a little bit familiar? I don't know if this is just a normal Chicago layout, but this looked like the Cairo video where he got caught at McDonald's, and this might have been the McDonald's. Am I tweaking? Is this a similar layout?
What she thought it was. Not only was it smack dab in the middle of like 5 different high schools, including Dunbar where L.A. Capone went, and also the school we had to fight pretty much every day, but a military school means they accept kids who were banned from going to any other school in the city. So she thought this was like some prestigious school when it was really full of kids that got expelled from all Chicago public schools by 8th grade. For instance, the first group of guys I met was a kid from 95th that masked up and robbed his whole classroom in middle school with a paintball gun. Another guy was one of the BDs from Drill City, around where Lil Jeff would eventually come from. Some Pocket Town gangsters, and then my homie from the east side that had already been shot on a bus before he even made it to high school. Needless to say, this...
Bro, Chicago sound like a fucking war zone. Who thinks let me move to Chicago? Nigga, what the fuck?
School was overbusting.
I kicked out my school, dead ass. Yo, you know them alternative schools, bro? That's what they call it over here, at least. Like military school, what he's just talking about is alternative school over here. Yo, alternative school on me used to go there. Nigga, he used to say half the bitches in the class got pregnant before they left high school. Nigga, there was mad people fighting every day. Niggas bringing blicks to school. Like, I don't know, bro. Like, I can't go to alternative school, and I would never send my kid there, nigga.
It was also my first experience with the Hispanic gangs in Chicago. Now, the Hispanic gangs in the city get a bad rep for being racist, and yes, back in my day at least, if they saw any black guys in their part of the city, they would yell GDK no matter if you were a gang member or not, since they assumed all black people was GDs. And you would probably get whooped on playing in their neighborhood for sure as an African American. But once we were all at school together, everything was cool. I'll never forget my homie Carlos teaching me the difference between Mexican and Puerto Rican Spanish. And that's where I also learned that the Latina gang members were way more likely to kill you than any other guys. I remember my homie kind of had a thing with one of the Latin queens that came in.
Damn, she GD too, nigga? I mean, GDK too? Everybody GDK over there? Fuck.
Into freshman year with a teardrop tatted on her face. Now this was back in the day, so I can't say this teardrop was capped or she just got it to look cool. I think she really took somebody off this earth. And it's also when I got my first experience with the boys shutting the city bus off so that they would have more time to fight, and also making the bus drivers run. And this led to my first experience of the 600 versus Taekwon World era, and I didn't even know it at first. Now you might have heard
making the bus driver run off the bus is fucking insane.
First experience of the 600 versus Taekwon World era, and I didn't even know it at first. Now you might have heard Von rap about how he had to go up to Dunbar and shoot at people, and this is why. Yes, it was actually so bad back then that he was able to get away with doing this near a school without it making national headlines. It probably barely made the Chicago news. And it might have been cameras, but they were so low quality back then. But I still wish I could have got a good look at everybody on that bus. How many faces from the drill scene was I actually sitting with? I'll never know, because I looked out the window, and by the time I turned around, I got punched so hard, I ended up facing the window again. My vision was all blurry, so I kind of just blindly swung my way off the bus. And at first, I thought I was the one getting jumped on. But when I got off the bus, a short brawl ensued, and after a few minutes, one side scattered back towards Taekwon World, and the other side scattered back towards O Block and 600. It was then that I realized this fight wasn't even about me, and I'm like 6'4", so I probably just caught a straight fist because I was so visible. And this brings us to 49th Street and my experience with 051 Young Money. So high school homecomings worked a little different in Chicago in the 2010s. It was not a school event.
Yo, where would y'all rather live? Chicago or, let's say, ATL? What do y'all think's better?
This shit is fucking crazy, bro.
In fact, it was completely put together by kids, and it was so full of gang members that the DJ was shouting out every hood in the party. This was not a formal affair at all. Just imagine a nightclub in the middle of the hood, but it's just high school kids. It's a permanently closed high school on 49th that was the main hub for these type of parties. Every high school had a homecoming, but there's a couple that everybody wanted to go to, and this was one that everybody came to. So much so that if you weren't in line by 7 o'clock, you wasn't getting in. It would fill the capacity that quick since the whole South Side was in there, and of course the South Side is the largest part of the city. At my first one, around the time Chief Keef dropped Bang, the war between 051 and 600 was in full effect. And I'll never forget the two little guys walking around the party looking every single person in their eyes, cracking the trays in their face, saying BDK, just hoping that one of y'all was a BD and wanted to get wild. And
like, niggas just be so crash out for no reason. Imagine walking around an entire party throwing a nigga gang down because you just want an altercation. Nigga, holy fuck. No, deadass, this is the thuggery of thuggery. Real shit. Depends on which way I can get away from. Robbing a fast food place? Damn, fat ass. What are you robbing fast food for? Nigga, this shit like $10.
obviously, this didn't take long to get out of hand, and my memory is kind of blurry, but it only lasted like 2 years because the last homecoming they had, which was my sophomore year, Young Money was posted outside the gates after the party looking for any ops that dared come to a party this close in their neighborhood, and there was a McDonald's right down the street. Now, after everything ended, the closer the crowd got to that McDonald's, the wilder it got. Me and my homie and my cousin was sitting out there looking stupid, just waiting on our ride, and we knew we had a limited amount of time before it got deadly. Now, I'm not from 49th or anywhere over there, so we was doing something called lacking. The police was checking people before you came in, so the only guys with guns were the ones who had their own ride and left them in the car, or the guys who lived close enough to have a stash spot nearby. And by the time this crowd got up to McDonald's, it was like a movie. I had never seen the golden arches at McDonald's just go out. They flooded the restaurant and sent it up from the parking lot to the cash register. And believe me, when I looked up and saw them arches go out, I cannot tell you how happy I was that our ride pulled up seconds later. There was no Uber back in 2012 or Lyft. If you ain't have a ride, you was just walking. I mean, we could have took the bus or the train, but I had just spent $10 to get into the party, and that's all I had. Really, in the span of 1 year, we went from teach me how to Dougie to eat is you serious. And I guess I said all that just to say this. It was definitely a one-of-a-kind thing to grow up in this era and see it firsthand. But in retrospect, knowing everything that it caused, all the lives lost, and honestly the way the rest of the world looks at us, it's definitely bittersweet. Us in the urban black community have never gotten the best looks from people in other communities. And the drill movement certainly didn't help us. And I'm definitely...
Yeah, y'all thugs kind of ruined it for everybody. I ain't gonna cap. Like, yo, especially the Pooh Shiesty wave, when everybody started rocking them ski masks. Oh, yeah. I ain't gonna lie, I did rock a ski mask or two. But, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't doing the crazy shit all y'all niggas was doing. Like, you know, my shit wasn't that bad.
Blessed to have made it out alive, but I just wish it didn't have to go this far. Music is one thing, but the real gang banging and crime that went behind the music, was it really necessary? I guess drill music wouldn't really be the same if it wasn't, but at the same time, you can describe your environment in music without being a killer. It's always gonna be killers, and it's always gonna be gang members. And if you watch my last video, then you'll know that somehow the drill era was still safer than the 70s, 80s, and 90s. We just made it look so much worse. But at the same time, I wouldn't trade my upbringing for nothing. I remember being a kid and wondering why I was even born on the south side of Chicago. I remember visiting some of my homies in the suburbs and just looking at how good they had it. But you know, I definitely wouldn't be me.
Definitely in Chicago. There's no way this is Chicago. Why the fuck they water look kind of clean? I'm not tweaking. This Chicago beach shit so confusing my history class. Nigga, what? Nigga says confused.